By the way, I want to go on a little rant this morning. I bring up, when it comes to judging people and judging people with a proper balance and perspective, I always bring this stuff up because I bring up Rod Pickens, who is another trusted voice, and anybody that's seen Rod Pickens' testimony where he went to the judgment. And like I said, eternal security people are going to throw out every vision, every testimony, rather a wide awake one or a dream or an NDE, because they don't want those testimonies to contradict their lies, because a lot of them are going to live their lives very sloppily. They're going to have a lack of fear of God, especially with the things they speak and the people that they judge. But he saw in that testimony that a woman, I don't know what else she was sent to hell for, but there was a highlight in that was she made a Facebook post that misled hundreds of thousands of people, and God told her that he was going to judge her on how people received it, not on the actual statement. So when I'm seeing people online, and I'm very careful in every video I make because I'm cognizant of the fear of the Lord, because I've experienced it. It's a physical fear too, by the way. And most of you haven't. Y'all just think he's happy-go-lucky Jesus. You don't understand the ox. You don't understand the eagle. You don't understand the different aspects of his character, because most of you lack experience. But let me tell you that when I see people making carnal judgment calls, that's why on here you don't see me just like throwing people in hell. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and mercy. I'll call out a false doctrine. I'll call out a wicked way. But I understand that every person, I can't judge the person themselves. That's not my call, okay? And even if I have carnally done that, I usually try to bring myself back out and pray and say, that's not my call. That's why I can't tell you every eternal security teacher will be in hell. I could only tell you the lying doctrine and other people that have had the experience, okay? Because I know people are going to watch this video, whether they like me or not, and on Judgment Day, my video will pass before their eyes and say, you were told. So, but yesterday, I posted a picture with me and Julie from Touching the Afterlife, and I have a guy on here, and we joke around on other posts, but he's eternal security. I'm sure he thinks I'm a works-based salvationist, whatever that means. You're not saved by works, but your works will determine where you end up, because if you wouldn't, that means that by your works, you couldn't deny him. So if I'm out living in sin, then by my works, I've denied him. So yes, your works will judge whether you get into heaven or not ultimately, and then you will also be judged on rewards and lack thereof, on intentions of heart and reasonings behind what you did. But anyway, I have, he posted, and a lot of people do this. Terry from Walking with Holy Spirit always does this. These carnal people that somehow think that because a channel is monetized, that automatically they start throwing out judgment calls. Oh, I can't listen to him because he monetizes his channel. He's making all kinds of money off the people and blah, blah, blah. I've heard this about Brandon Biggs. I've heard this about Julie now. And then he went on to say, well, she's dolling herself up with makeup, drawing in the gullible. And of course, the root with him is he doesn't like the channel because it goes against eternal security, because there's hundreds of testimonies of people going to hell that were Christian. He don't like that. So he's got to have a cognitive dissonance filter where he ignores all that, okay? Because he thinks his gospel is the truth. But anyway, the thing is a lot of you do this, and a lot of you have channels where you just profile now, don't get me wrong, I do think there's a balance to this. I do think some people are called. I think Candace is called to do this sometimes. I don't agree with everything Candace says, but it has to be done properly, because you're going to go up there and say, I always tell people this. I'm like, I wish that my channel was that big. I would monetize the hell out of it. I would rake in the cash on that. You know why? Because I got money. I'm secure. I don't have to worry about money. But you know what? I have friends that run soup kitchens in town. I've even told people if they want to donate to that to let me know. Okay. I have missionaries. I have prophetic people in third world countries that I can help. I have all kinds of people that are in need right now. And I would absolutely rake in that cash and make that money. And plus, with people like Julie, and I've met Julie personally. Julie is a sweetheart. She means well. And she takes time out of her day. A workman is worthy of their hire. Anybody that tells you otherwise. Like I said, the Bible talks about money more than almost any other topic. Those of you that are all in this poverty gospel and you're not supposed to be rich and wealthy, the Bible tells you that is a part of biblical prosperity. Has it been perverted over the years into greed? Yes. But most people that talk are anti-money are broke. I've noticed that. But you don't know, this is what I'm saying. When you guys do these things and you go running off at the mouth, do you think, especially when you type in a public forum, you don't know Julie. You don't know what Julie does with her money. And that, like I said, she has to spend time interviewing people. She has to spend time editing. She has to spend time doing the video. This takes out, this is a job. You deserve to get paid, just like I believe pastors deserve to get. I think pastors should be getting paid all kinds more money than they do, because pastors have to sit there, and because I'm close, with my former pastor and a pastor here at my church I know pretty well, I know what they go through. They have to be your counselor. They have to be your deliverance minister. They have to be your marriage counselor. They have to do sermon. That is a job, and it's a very important job, and they should be paid for it very handsomely. Just because there is the cliche, there's cliches in the prosperity movement because cliches exist. That means that there's truth to them. There is greedy pastors, but like what it is a lot of people use that excuse because they don't want to tithe. They don't want to be faithful. They don't want to give their finances, and they use that as a clever excuse. I mean, buildings take money to maintain. The pastor has to counsel you and all the reverb effects from that. Okay, and when all those people come into that church and they get help and they spread it to the community, it's a very important job. But anyway, it's like Brandon Biggs. I heard of a guy, well, he's raking in the cash. I was like, you don't know what Brandon Biggs does with his money. You do not know if he spends it on giving to other ministry. Everybody I know that makes money, real Christians, they're givers. If you're not a giver, I question your actual salvation at that point. If you're greedy, I think God gives the tithe to break greed off of people, okay? But I'm just saying that you should be a giving and generous person. Even if you're poor, you should be wanting to give your time. So I'm trying to tell you that, and it's the same thing with these people that just make video after video with 3 hours, and they're going to break apart every little piece of a sermon and everything they disagree with and take sound bites. What are you going to look like on Judgment Day when he takes sound bites of your life? Have you judged with mercy? That's why you always hear me talking about judging with mercy on this channel, because I know I'm a flawed individual. Some of you, pardon my language, think your shit don't stink. You guys think that you have every single T and I dotted and crossed, that everything in your doctrine is correct. And we all fall into that at times. This is why I always try to tell you when I give a clause about eternal security, I understand people that will be saved that go there, because none of us have everything figured out. None of us have all of our theology figured out. I'm still open to correction. The only thing I'm not open to correction on are certain doctrines. Like, you're not ever going to tell me that tongues aren't for today. You're never going to tell me miracles aren't those things, because I've experienced them myself and lived in a place where they were everywhere. So when I deal with, preacher, I had a guy like a few weeks ago that got on me and was trying to stalk me on this page, probably still watching, trying to push his preterism crap and telling me the old excuse of why don't you come into the children's hospital and listen, these people that make these stupid arguments don't understand atmospheres of faith. They don't understand healing. They don't understand deliverance because they don't experience it. That's why I made a video on it called Religious People Condemn Spiritual Experiences in Others Because They Don't Have Them. But I just want to give a warning, because a lot of you just go in the comment section and just go at it and just call all these people false and that they're money hungry, and you don't know, you've never met the person. You've never, like I said, the guy was talking about Julie. You've never met Julie. You don't know anything Julie does. You don't know what charity work she does. Same thing with Brother Ping, Jesus Loves Hmong people. There was people getting on him for money. You don't know what he does with his money. First of all, if he's going to take time out of his day to counsel people online. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying someone should charge money for, deliverance or something, but I'm saying if he's taking the time out of his day to make hours and hours of videos, edits, counseling you on the phone, you should give him a tithe or an offering. You don't have to. I'm saying that, but like there's this idea out there that money is evil and that anybody that has a monetized channel is not in the truth. Bull. I think that if you have enough money and enough viewers to get monetization and you don't monetize, that you're not using wisdom. Because that money could go into other people, to other saints, to the poor. Like I said, I just think people are anti-money. A lot of people are poverty gospel type of people. They think that Jesus was poor. I don't believe Jesus was poor. He had a treasurer. So he had a seamless robe. There's a lot of things about Jesus that did not indicate that he was very poor. The thing is you guys got to be careful. And it's the same thing with other things too. Slander, gossip. You're making channels about Donald Trump as the Antichrist. Guess what? When he's not the Antichrist, you have just committed false witness. You've just committed slander. I always tell people this: just because you don't like somebody does not mean that you have the free will to slander them, especially publicly. You sit there and make fun of all these pastors because you have a cliche in your heart that you want to now label everybody some money hungry, gospel, a prosperity gospel pimp. You don't know. Be careful. Be careful with your words. Be careful with your judgments online, because they're all going to come back to you. And that's why you will hear me beating the drum of show mercy to all. And like I said, I've rebuked people before. When I rebuked Kirsty Durlew up here running her mouth, like I just saw the other day, she made a post. She was talking about, like, basically she had to come in and defend Joshua and Halengwe like she's the backup quarterback. She's got to come in and support her. She's got to be backup support now. I even tell you, I pray for her that there's mercy on her for running her mouth on October 6th, because she ain't got a lot of fear of God either. Because I'm telling you, I guarantee you, the number one thing that people are going to go to hell for, I believe, besides unforgiveness, is gossip and slander. It's the sins of the tongue. No man can control it. That includes me or anybody else. I try the best that I can. I've learned over years, especially not to attack people in leadership to the best that I can. I can say I don't agree with you. I can disagree with your doctrine. I try not to fully attack, especially anybody with a real prophetic office, whether they miss it from time to time or not. Because again, I go through this in my Understanding the Prophetic teaching. Just because you don't have prophecy and you don't have visions and you don't experience God does not mean you understand prophecy. Somebody can have a vision from the Lord, go into the vision, come out and be bewildered and think it's going to happen in a minute, and they get the wrong timing. It doesn't mean that they got it wrong. Or they can see a symbol in a vision and they don't know what the symbol means, just like prophets in the Bible. Okay, and then you can have people that have things that God will give you a vision of that you can pray against, because prophecy is fluid at times. It's very clear on that. Hezekiah is a clear indication of stuff like that God does, and prayer can change things. So before going around just calling everybody and their mother a false prophet because you don't experience prophecy and you don't have visions, it's not give you the right. Because what if they're a real prophet? What if they're a baby prophet? Baby prophets are notorious for running their mouths, getting online. They ain't got no structure. They ain't got no church leadership. And they get online and they have a vision, and it might come true 10 years from now. But they went off prematurely in their immaturity and made a wrong call, had a wrong timeline. That doesn't mean they're false. It means they're immature, and there's a lot of that online right now, okay? So this is my goal for you guys. Be careful. A lot of you that watch this video comment in people's comment sections. You make judgments. Some of you make videos about other people. Be very careful how you're making those videos about people, what you're saying about their personal character that you don't know anything about. Certain situations that you might know of that you don't have all the details of, and you run in your mouth, because then you're getting into the realm of a busybody too. So be careful with that.